Hello, everybody. My name is Haley Hobson, and I'm here with you today to talk to you about losing weight naturally, which is a topic that I haven't talked about in a long time. And it's a topic that I don't usually talk about. And I'm going to share some personal information with you later on in the webinar, and you'll see why this is actually an important topic to me. First, I just want to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I am a life and business coach, and I'm passionate about clean eating. I'm a 7-figure momtrepreneur. I'm proud to be in the network marketing business. I've been there for about 3.5 years, and I'm also proud to have broken pretty much every rank in my company after the first 15 months and then continue to break ranks after now I think I'm about 27, 28 months in. So I love what I do, and in addition to my network marketing business, like I said, I'm a life coach, I'm a business coach, an author, a speaker, and I've got some great information that I want to share about the whole you, and part of that is clean eating. So this is a topic that dominates the minds of so many people. We are always thinking about diet and weight. And we're almost constantly making subconscious choices. Some of them are conscious, but a lot of times subconscious choices about what we are putting into our mouths. And even when we are out to dinner with our friends and we have like a cheat dessert, or we're home, we're preparing lunch for our kids or dinner for our kids, and we pop something into our mouths, we feel guilty or bad or acknowledge that we need to eat less the next day or work out harder the next day. And this is sort of a cycle that I even believed myself for a long time. I'll talk to you about that more. So that is what I want to speak to you about today in this webinar. But I also want to show you how to start watching your thoughts in your life and how that you can even incorporate that knowledge into your eating. So, by the way, this is actually relevant for overeaters and undereaters, okay? So for people who want to lose weight and also for people who are not eating enough. And it's also about a lifetime change. Remember, if you overeat, you will be overweight, plain and simple. And if you are overweight, it's because you are overeating, unless there's some hormones that are interfering. And I'll also talk about that later. So I want to speak to you first, before I get into some personal information, which is kind of juicy, about some challenges that we face, some statistics. First of all, empty calories from added sugars and solid fats contribute to 40% of total daily calories for 2-year-olds to 18-year-olds. And half of those empty calories come from the following 6 sources: sodas, fruit juices, fruit drinks, dairy desserts, grain desserts, pizza, and whole milk. The typical American diets exceed the recommended intake levels or limits in 4 categories: calories from solid fats and added sugars, refined grains, sodium, and saturated fats. And Americans eat less than the recommended amount of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and oils. I know this for a fact because I have a 6-year-old. So this is what we face. Data from 2009, 2010 indicates that over 78 million US adults and about 12.5 million children and adolescents are obese. Breathe that one in. Recent reports project that by 2030, half of adults, 115 million adults in the US, will be obese. Projections estimate that by 2018, obesity will cost the US 21% of our total healthcare costs. This is $344 billion. Yes, I said billion dollars annually. Pretty scary, isn't this? So what is the solution? Well, first thing first, and I'm going to talk about this, is paying attention to the hunger scale. I'll explain this to you, okay? But before I give you some options and other advice, I want to share with you my personal journey, which I actually haven't really publicly talked about, and explain how you can make lasting personal change by simply going through and monitoring your thoughts. So let's take a peek, okay? So when I was in my 20s, I was actually pretty miserable, to be honest. My eating was ridiculous. I was depressed because of my actions. I was eating practically nothing. I was drinking a lot, and I was putting other unnamed substances into my body because I thought it would make me happier. I wasn't happy. I was miserable. And I seriously believed that the skinnier I was, the happier I'd be. It's really interesting because I actually asked my mother to send me a picture of what I looked like back at this point because, we didn't have iPhones back then and I wasn't taking pictures like I take now because I wanted to actually show you what I looked like. And she literally told me that she did not take any pictures of me during this time period because I was so quote unquote sick, which is very interesting in itself because we never discussed the fact that I was sick. It just was, I was what I was, and I wasn't even sure that they acknowledged it. But my point was when I was not eating or eating less was that I would get more attention. And I guess I did. And of course, that continued to feed my insecurities. I did have some type of eating disorder. So here is my story, and this is the flow of what happens. We have circumstances in our lives, and we have thoughts around each circumstance. So the circumstance could be my weight, and I have thoughts about it. I'm too fat, right? And then we have feelings around those thoughts, like I'm not good enough, or I'm too heavy, or I have no self-worth, or whatever those feelings are. And then we act around those feelings, like I'm going to eat less and less and less. And then the result is I'm underweight, I look terrible, and I'm still miserable, right? So I want you to look at this diagram for a second because we're going to come back to it. And just remember that your thoughts are not your circumstances. Like if somebody had come up to my parents at the time and been like, your daughter is too skinny, that's their thought, right? It was also my thought now when I look back. The circumstance is just simply weight, okay? So we have a thought, which generates a feeling, which then causes us to act, and then basically gives us a result. So I'm going to go through the model with my own problem here. The circumstance was weight. I weighed X amount. The thought was I am still not fit enough. My feeling around the whole thing, I was insecure. The action was I ate less, and the result was I felt worse. If we want to change the result, we have to change the action. The only way we can change the action is if we feel differently about the thought and the circumstance. If we have a different thought about the circumstance, so we can feel different. Are you guys following me? So oftentimes we try to actually change the circumstance, the C line, or we try to change the A line, which is the action line, and we're still not satisfied with our results, right? Like I'm going to control how I eat, and therefore I'm going to still get the same results. All right. What we need to actually change is the thought around it. Okay. You looking at this example? Because what I'm trying to say is that if I had tried to change the action, like eating more or eating less, that wouldn't have worked. I have to have a different feeling about myself, not so insecure. And I have to have a different thought, which is not the thought that I'm not fit enough. Okay. That's the only way I can change the result, by feeling. Okay. So let me give you another example of this model. Let's just say Sarah, we'll call her, weighs 200 pounds. The thought is she wants to lose weight, but she doesn't think it's possible. She feels depressed about her attempts. Therefore, she blows off the gym. She isn't strategic about her food choices. And then the result is she continues to not lose weight. So you can see how you can change your results, but not trying to focus and control the circumstances or actions, but rather going to the thoughts and the feelings. You go within. So let me just go back to Sarah for a second. Sarah still weighs 200 pounds. She still wants to lose weight, but she thinks it's going to hurt, but it's worth it now. Her thought is totally different. From the thought, it's so worth it, she actually feels excited about her challenge and getting out of her comfort zone. Therefore, her action is that she goes to the gym, starts to focus on her energy and on understanding nutrition. And the result is she loses weight. She feels great and she starts to inspire others. She has decided that her new body and her new life are more important than her desire for cheese, which was her problem. Because when we went in and we really looked at like why she was feeling that it wasn't going to work before, if I go back to this slide, okay, the feeling was she was depressed because her thought was she couldn't give up cheese. She loved it that much. So when we really started to look at what cheese was doing to her, okay, she decided that her new body, her new life was worth giving up the cheese. So now that we've gone through the thoughts and feelings, I want to take a look at how we can make healthy choices to support those nourishing thoughts, okay? And if you still haven't digested this, I'll be talking about it a lot in other future webinars because I think this thought process is super crucial in how we actually get any result in our life, not just with our weight, but also with our own happiness. Okay, we can choose to be happy right now. We can choose to be successful right now. We can choose to be a badass right now if we want to, simply by changing our thoughts. And just on a PS side note, a lot of people think they have to come up with like a serious positive affirmation to change their thoughts, and it's not true. And I'll give you an example that has nothing to do with weight, for instance, like, you know, my husband on Tuesday morning, he came in and came downstairs he woke up and he like went off on me in the kitchen because the dog had been let into the house with muddy paws. I didn't realize that. I just gotten home from a trip. I actually didn't realize that the dirt lot next to us was wet and that there was mud on the ground. So he started to get all crazy and I was like, you know, honey, I really love you. I'm on my way out. I'll talk to you later. And that was it. He tried to start a fight with me and I was not going to get the thought going in a way with he's such a mean person or why is he such a jerk. I wasn't going to go there because if I knew I did, I'd have a negative feeling and then my reaction, which is my action, would be bad and the result would be crappy. We'd probably fight with each other. What was so ironic was that day the cleaning ladies came, so I reminded him that like, hey, you know what? It's so awesome that the cleaning ladies are coming today so you won't see the mud on the floor. So the cleaning ladies came. And then that afternoon, he let the dog in and there's mud all over the floor. So I could have chosen two thoughts there. I could have chosen the thought, I can't believe it. He got so mad at me and now he's doing it. Or I could have chosen like a totally positive thought, which I didn't need to. Like, oh, my husband's so awesome, which I do think he's awesome, but I didn't need to choose that. Or I could have chosen a thought, well, oh my gosh, that's just so kind of fascinating to me that he, you know, decided to yell at me for bringing the dog in with muddy paws, but he did the same thing himself. How funny. He's so silly, right? You see where I'm going? Like, you don't have to post positive affirmations all over your freaking computer and house to make yourself a happy person and to generate results. I mean, they're good, okay? But really, if you notice a result that you are not getting, you have to go back to your thought process and your feelings and work from there. All right. So let's go back to some facts here. Our challenges that we're having today are, I told you about the empty calories, or we're restricting calories, we're starving ourselves, we're on diet foods, low fat foods, diet foods, inflammation in the body, processed foods. There's too much snacking, too much dairy, too much sodium, a lot of sugar. People seeing fat as bad, too many GMOs still in our foods and toxins, fad diets. And the result is that we have low energy, our weights fluctuate, our moods swing, our blood sugar spikes, our body is not in balance, we're stressed out, frustrated, and we have dis-ease within ourselves, and therefore we do not feel whole. Anybody identifying with me at any point? Now, this is where I was, right? 20 years ago or 20 some years ago. So we've got to make wise choices. There is no need to starve ourselves and go on extreme or fad diets. What is necessary and what I've learned over the last 20 some years, it's about having a whole approach to our diet and our lives. Having a balanced diet and being educated and making the right choices, including whether to put food in our mouth when we're hungry. So I know that we have meat eaters and vegetarians and vegans and paleo and non-dairy and dairy and gluten-free and gluten-loving people on here, and that's fine. I don't care what you eat, to be honest. I just want you to adjust my advice for your beliefs and your dietary preferences. The main thing is you've got to monitor the hunger scale. This means that you're going to have a range from like -10 to 10. And -10 is like you're starving, right? And then 10 is like you cannot stuff one bit of morsel or even a drop of water in your mouth. And you really should keep yourself between like a -2 and a 2. This is actually a little method that I learned from my life coach. I want to give her kudos, Brooke Castillo. She's amazing. And she's a weight coach as well. And she talks a lot about like making sure that you don't go below a -2 in terms of hunger, but you don't stuff yourself past a +2. Okay. So this means when you sit down to eat, relax and pay attention to the sensation in your body. A lot of times I feel like, I actually overeat, which is kind of funny from somebody who, had an eating disorder before, because I'm afraid of when my next healthy meal is going to be. Meaning I'm like traveling all over the place and I'm so worried that I'm not going to get the kind of food that I want to eat, that I'd have to eat crap, that I eat more than I should eat at the given meal so that I'm not worried about my next meal choice. And that is actually the wrong thing to do. You've got to stay between that hunger scale and make sure that if you need to, carry healthy food on you. And it's okay to actually skip meals. We have this theory in our head that we've got to eat like, 3 times a day or every 3 hours. And, some people want to do that and it works for them. But you know what? Intermittent fasting is actually good for your body. And that means not eating for a certain period of time, like 7 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning, right? That's an intermittent fast. And you can also do the same thing during the day. Like you could decide that you're going to eat a big lunch and you're going to go travel, or I'm using my own self as an example. And then boom, I'm just not going to eat for the next 9 hours. I don't care how hungry I get at the airport or on the plane. I'm not going to eat and I'm going to plan a meal when I land. Skipping meals is okay when it's appropriate if you're trying to lose weight. And also, we're going to talk about insulin in a little bit and what that does to your body when you're eating too often. So I personally don't snack between meals. I think it's a killer, okay? I know that there are other theories out there, but I believe, and based on what I'm going to teach you about insulin, you may or may not agree with me at the end of this PowerPoint, at the end of this presentation, that I don't think if you're trying to lose weight, you should be snacking during the day. I also do believe it's okay to treat yourself and that you don't have to cheat yourself. Just make sure you're not doing it too often and that you have a balance of the main food groups within all your meals. So also remember that fat doesn't make you fat, okay? Fats are essential, but you have to choose the right ones. I personally feel like I'm starving if I don't have a balance of fat in my diet. And I, on purpose, put things like nut butters or coconut oils in all of my foods so that I have enough fat that satiates me and allows my body to burn more fat. And then, of course, you need to drink a lot of water. Okay. Like I know for my body weight, I'm supposed to be drinking like 70 or 80 ounces of water a day. It's something like 60% of your body weight. It's crazy. Hold back on the salt is another one. Okay. That makes you bloated and retain fluids. And the biggest hold back thing is on the sugar. Remember that 4 grams is about 1 teaspoon of sugar. The recommended amount is 6 teaspoons per day. That's 24 grams. A can of soda is 40 to 60. A vitamin water is 32 grams. A Gatorade is 56, just to give you guys a perspective. Sugars are bad. Okay, I'm going to talk about this again when we talk about insulin and how hard it is to release weight off your body when your insulin levels are going crazy. All right, this is hormones. This is the part where if you're having trouble and you're not overeating, you might have a problem with your hormones. It might be an insulin level, okay? The other is don't follow a fad diet or any diet. Do what feels good to you. Follow that hunger scale and eat healthy, good food, whole foods. The other big thing that I recommend, and I talked about it a couple minutes ago, is noticing the feeling or the sensation in your body. Very often, you guys, we eat because of stress or moods. And if you can notice the feeling in your body as like, are you really hungry? Or are you feeling stressed or hurried or worried or sad or depressed or even happy? Joyful eating. Notice the feeling in your body. Try to learn to distinguish emotions from real hunger. And add as much all natural, organic, and raw food as possible into your diet. Choose water, add fruit slices for flavor, maybe essential oils like a drop of lime, orange, whatever, slice of watermelon, lemon, kiwi, berries, or cucumber in your water. And always add variety to your diet so you don't get bored. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here talking about like what you should do in terms of a meal plan. Like I don't believe in that. I think you should just follow the hunger scale and make sure that you're getting some saturated fat, some protein, and some complex carbohydrates. And here's examples of them: kale, spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, beans, asparagus, cauliflower, eggplant, etc. Okay? You don't want to have the carbohydrates that are starchy so much, like white starches, okay? Like potatoes, that kind of thing. Now, some of them are better than others, like squash and beets and yams and that kind of thing. We're going to talk about the white starchy ones in a little bit. They're sugars. They're not good for you. And even fruits, you want to be careful that you're not getting too much glycogen, too much insulin into your body, all right? Fruits like berries are awesome. Fruits like bananas are not, all right? So you want to stay away from the high glycemic fruits if you're trying to lose weight. It's just like an influx of sugar that's going into your body. I'm not saying don't eat them. Look, I have a piece of a banana in my smoothie every morning, but I'm really careful about all the other sugar that I'm putting in my body during the day, all right? Drinks, same thing. Like you can use hemp milks, almond milks, coconut milks, rice milks, all unsweetened, right? Or you can do things like having high sugar drinks. You tell me, which do you think is better? Now let's get back to flour first for a second. Eliminate the flours and sugars. That's it, period, the end. And I'll tell you why soon. And it's a lot more than you think. And we'll talk about grains and then we'll come back to that. So good grains, quinoas, couscous, millets, stuff like that, basmati rice. Bad grains, white ones, right? White flours. Try to use grains that are more complex, Ezekiel breads versus white breads. For your fats, the good fats that your body needs and your brain needs are avocados, seeds, nuts, chias, virgin olive oils, fish oils, nut butters, coconut butters. And the proteins, if you're eating meats, I would suggest on the not so fatty sides, but egg whites are great. Certain meats are okay. Make sure if I were you, I would do, locally raised, farm raised, turkeys, chickens, fish. For me, since I'm a vegan, I'm sticking to things like hemp and protein powders and tempeh. I try to stay away from too much tofu just because I don't think soy is the best. Now let's go on and move towards hormones. When it comes to hormones, there are three main hormones that you need to know about when you're talking about weight loss. They will control how hungry you get, how full you get, and how well you utilize your own fat for fuel. In order to lose weight, you literally have to utilize your own fat for fuel. This means dining on yourself, you guys. If you're not losing weight, your body may be in a constant fat storage mode. So let's talk about insulin for a second. Insulin clears glucose from the blood. The more glucose you have, the more insulin you have. And insulin is released every time you eat. In order for it to be released, that should say eat, you need to eat less sugar and flour, and you need to eat less often. This is actually why I believe it's not necessary to eat every 2 or 3 hours and why intermittent fasting can be good. Insulin prevents fat burning. Too much insulin in your body prevents fat burning, okay? The hormone leptin tells you that you are full. Some people have too much insulin resistance, which actually blocks leptin to the brain. This means they are not getting enough, they're resistant to insulin, and it blocks leptin at the brain. So if you're hungry all the time, You may actually be insulin resistant and possibly leptin resistant. And then ghrelin is the hormone that tells you when you're hungry, and it adapts to your habits and your patterns. You can change this hormone simply by changing your patterns. In other words, like if your pattern in the morning is to grab a muffin and a coffee, your body is going to tell you that you're hungry for that muffin every morning. Do you guys ever feel that way when you wake up in the morning, you crave a specific food? It's because you have a pattern of doing that, right? Like for some reason, not for some reason, it's obvious now. I always crave a piece of dark chocolate after dinner. I don't crave it in the morning because I never eat it in the morning. So you can tell yourself that you're not hungry for a food or not hungry if you literally change your patterns. Now, another reason that we overeat is because we have created a neural pathway in our unconscious brain, literally have programmed us to overeat. This is our neurotransmitters. For instance, like I talked about before, eating at 6 p.m., grabbing coffee on the way to work, eating turkey on Thanksgiving. These are all reasons that we tend to overeat. We're creating this neural pathway in our brain. And all patterns which cause us to eat, all of these are patterns which cause us to eat when we are not even hungry. Do you guys sometimes go to the movies and you just grab popcorn because it's there when you're not even hungry? It's a neural pathway in our brain. So in order to end the struggle, we have competing desires. We want to lose the weight, but we continue to overeat. So would you rather eat or would you rather learn to feel? And what I mean by this is a lot of times, you guys, people are eating to mask some type of emotion that they're having in their body, right? When we're feeling sad, depressed, worried, stressed out, anxious, etc., we eat. We're so in tune to not wanting to feel our emotions that we mask them by overeating, drinking, drugs, etc., watching too much TV, being workaholics. Those are all things that help us not feel ourselves. What would you rather do? Learn how to feel yourself and become an emotional adult, or eat more? Do you want to uncondition yourself? Would you like to work on balancing your hormones? Would you like to make a change? Would you like to learn how to change your thoughts? Are you ready to make a commitment? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. I know certain people who want to lose weight so badly, but they don't want to make the change or a commitment. And that's fine. But guess what? They're not going to lose weight. You know, it's the same kind of thing in my business. I have people that come to me all the time and say, Haley, I want to build a business. I want you to help me build a business. I want you to be my accountability partner. I want you to be my mentor. And then they don't do anything. You can say something, but if your thoughts around it don't dictate the feeling that you really want to make the change, then your actions will be the same. Then your results will never change. You guys get that? So in this situation, talking about weight, if you want to lose weight, you will have to eat less or balance your hormones, which means you're going to have to eat less or balance your hormones, which means you're also going to have some thought work and some feeling work to do. Okay. So let's just talk about a couple of products that will support you during this struggle. Losing weight is more than just food, we've talked about. And I've shown you the thoughts process and the right foods. And now I want to share with you some supplements that I also believe can help you along your way, right? It's all about this pyramid that we call this healthy lifestyle pyramid. And that includes eating right, exercising, resting, managing stress, reducing toxic load, and also your own informed self-care and proactive medical care. And part of the rest and manage stress, reduce toxic load, your informed care and your proactive medical care, you can actually take care of with some supplements and other products in your daily routine that can help you with these 4 choices. So one of the products that I like is the Slim and Sassy Metabolic Blend. It comes in a soft gel or the oil itself. The soft gel has the oil in it. And when you take this oil, or you take this product every couple of hours, what it does is it helps with detoxification, natural detoxification, helps your body naturally detoxify. And it also helps your body not crave those sugars and starchy carbohydrates. And It's an oil that helps your body in regulation of your blood sugars. Okay. So it's a great product to help you facilitate the feelings of hunger and like wanting to eat everything like a bear. All right. Another combination that I like is actually what I call the Slim and Sassy wrap. And these are 7 oils that you can combine. And there's a specific protocol. I actually have it on my blog. So if you go to HaleyHobson.com, you go to the blog page, you Google Slim and Sassy wrap, you'll see, how many drops of each you need. You pour it into a glass bottle, and then the rest is fractionated coconut oil. You're going to spray it all over your targeted area. Like I like to put it on my tummy, wrap it up, and then you can go to sleep with it. And this is going to pull a lot of toxicity from your body. So it's going to get rid of some of that unnecessary fluid retention or inflammation that's hiding in the body and is masking itself as weight. Okay. But just remember, there's fat that you need to get rid of. And there's also excess inflammation and fluid. Okay. Slim and Sassy can help facilitate the fat burn, but this whole wrap is more popular for relieving unnecessary inflammation and fluid retention in the body. Okay. The other thing that I personally use is the vegan-friendly V-Shake. I believe personally that I can control the amount of food I'm putting into my body if I just make a very healthy, satiating shake in the morning. You don't have to do vegan. You can do, there's the brand that I use, doTERRA, has one that's not vegan with a whey protein. And I like to add a little bit of nut butter to this and some coconut milk or almond milk, unsweetened. And then sometimes I change the flavor by adding a different fruit. And it's excellent in giving me the right caloric intake I need without overeating. And it satiates me the entire morning. Okay. The other thing that I think is really important is going through a gut cleanse. And these 2 products, the PB Assist Plus and the GX Assist, are a probiotic and a GI cleansing formula. Basically an essential oil digestive maintenance program. And I actually have an entire webinar on GX cleansing. I think I just actually hosted it a couple weeks ago. So if you can't find that, reach out to my support at HaleyHobson.com, and we'll send it to you so you can watch that and really learn why your body needs to detox naturally. And we'll go through a much more specific protocol in that webinar on how to detox. And I also believe that the Lifelong Vitality Pack here is crucial. Like seriously, you guys, never would have a day where I skipped it morning and evening. Take it both times in the day. I could be laying in bed 10:30 at night and go, oh my gosh, I forgot my Lifelong Vitality. And it's the only supplement I've ever gotten out of bed for because it's worth it. And that's how different I feel. You're getting your food nutrient complex here, your essential oil omega complex, your cellular vitality, all in one box in 3 bottles with an addition of essential oils like wild orange, German chamomile, peppermint, ginger, caraway seed, fennel, and more that are going to help your body go through. Oh, also frankincense, huge one. I can't believe I forgot that. They're going to help your body naturally detoxify, aid with that natural detoxification, and also help promote feelings of energy and also promote those your body's natural way of getting rid of inflammation in its body as well. So I personally have had amazing results on this supplement. It's been able to help me promote a much better, more restful night's sleep. Like I said, better energy, promote a better mood in my body, meaning happy Haley is a better Haley. And this is a product I would not go without any day of the week, especially if you're going through a weight loss protocol. Okay. So you guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I know this is a subject that our country is dealing with and struggling with for so long. It's a subject that I dealt with for several years in my early 20s. And, now I've learned how to take a much more holistic approach to my health, to my weight. I feel really good about it. I am really happy with what I put in my body. I'm happy with myself. I'm happy with my weight. I want to share that with you. And if you've got anything else that you want to reach out about, remember that you can always come to my website, HaleyHobson.com, for some really good information. Great stuff on the thought work there. Facebook.com/Haley Hobson Health Coach. Always posting this kind of stuff. Same on Twitter or Pinterest and on my Instagram account, all with the Haley Hobson handle. Okay. You guys have a good one. I'll see you online.